We have some breaking news to get through this afternoon. Total breaking news, in fact, as we've just learned that Cole Palmer has suffered the freakish of injuries you've ever heard of, as he has broken his toe. He's going to miss out on the games against Barcelona and Arsenal, and it's not the start to the morning we were hoping for as we take on Burnley tomorrow afternoon, my friends. So I'm here to give you guys the preview. I hope you guys enjoy, but before I continue on, you guys, Christmas is coming up soon, and right now the club have launched another incredible merch set. In my opinion, it's giving a little bit of like Aim Leon Dore vibes for all you fashionistas out there that know the brand I'm talking about. Nice little classic type of contemporary type of feel that I like, and I'm not gonna lie, it's my birthday in a few weeks. You might be seeing me rocking this nice little set in my videos. And if you guys are planning any purchases for Christmas or yourselves, if you like anything you see here, I am your guy. Use my affiliate links in the card above or description below and use Nini10 at checkout to get a full 10% off your final order, boys. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's discuss today's latest reports. Bro, let's start off by discussing what the hell is going on with Cole Palmer, because as we've learned, it seems like he sustained this injury late at night when he was using the bathroom, as confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, and he must have just banged his toe against the side of the door. It's mad. Now, listen, it happens to all of us, but listen, I like to maybe avoid these types of situations. So you can buy like these like self-lighting like lights from Amazon where they have sensors where if they sense movement, you have like a nice little like subtle glow that comes on to avoid these situations. Hopefully Palmer invests in that in the not too distant future. But as we know, he's out for the big games, even though he was like right around the corner from getting back from this groin injury. It's just like typical, you know what I mean? So it's up to the rest of the team now to step up, make things happen. However, courtesy of Matt Law, it might not necessarily be all doom and gloom, because it seems like the club now are looking to kind of do what they can to help Palmer through this situation. And at the moment, it seems like Cole will be given specially adapted boots to aid with his recovery. Now, that doesn't mean that he'll be wearing special boots. That means he can play against Barcelona and Arsenal. I'd be incredibly surprised. But this is more, I think, so he can at least train now after being out with a groin injury. He has to build up his fitness again, right? And I think it means that he should be back in time for Leeds and Bournemouth, which could be important games, depending on how these results go against Barca and Arsenal. So, you know, it's a bit of a shame. But more positive news is that there was maybe reports that like Cole had bust up his big left toe. Instead, it's only his little toe, which makes things a bit more manageable, hence why extra cushioning around this area could actually help aid this little like rehab to get back to things. So yeah, it's a shame that we don't have our star guy in time, you guys. Obviously, it's not ideal. It's not ideal, but you know, we move, we make things happen, and at least Palmer should come back fully fit and firing. It's a little annoying because I had this nice little video on what Cole Palmer's return means to the team, and just like the link up with Esteval and how you can really like take the team to the next level. We have to be patient, we have to wait, but yeah, I was not expecting this type of news this morning, and I'm sure a lot of you guys was in utter disbelief. So you know what, you guys, I think it's time for us to discuss some of the key points from the press conference from Enzo Maresca. We learned quite a few interesting things. Now, in terms of the presser, of course, a lot of it was dedicated to Cole Palmer's injury, with Maresca explaining how he got injured late at night, hitting his toe. Fair enough. We don't have to discuss that no more. But we did kind of get an understanding behind what's going on between Axel and Raheem Sterling that have been ostracized from first team duties. At the moment, Axel, of course, recently featured for the PL2 team. He is helping the second team out in the moment, helping the youngsters during international break. He also has taken part in first team training sessions as well too. So who knows if he has a possible return back to action. In the case of Raheem Sterling, it wasn't quite clear what's going on. Obviously, again, another sad situation for the Sterling family. You know, robbery right in the yard. Sterling's protecting his fam. It's grim out there these days, man. Absolutely grim. But I've always personally thought, you guys, you know, it's a bit of And it feels a bit deep that both these guys are getting ostracized out for what? Because the club don't want them. Like, they should still be training with the first team and still be used. I, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't really agree with how clubs kind of do that type of stuff, in my opinion. So yeah, let's see what happens there. Of course, he was asked around if there's any truth around what's happening with Philip Jorgensen. As we know, Jorgensen ideally would like a loan move away in January. Maresca said he's spoken to him at the beginning of the season, and I didn't speak with Philip in the last days about that. I think all the players that they don't go or play a lot, they don't used to play, they would like to get more minutes, more games. It's completely normal, but I didn't speak with Philip. So I don't know what to kind of make out from that. Obviously, this probably is one of the bigger reasons why Jorgensen probably wants a loan move, because there's not even any real dialogue with the manager at the moment. Let's see if things kind of change around the corner. Some love was shown to one of the underrated players of the season, Malo Gusto. Now, when I say underrated, I don't... Listen, he's got quite a few assists for us this season. But I say underrated because on this channel, I've said for a while, he plays this support role really well, right? In terms of how he's constantly the guy that creates the triangles, that's making the underlaps, the overlaps. He's that constant support figure all across the field, in defense, in midfield, and in the final thirds. And of course, he plays that utility role which allows the others around him to cook a bit better. I still think we can maybe see more improvements, hopefully, in terms of how Gusto can improve with his on-the-ball qualities, right? He has got a little bit better in those regards, but I think he can still kind of grow into this role a bit more. I don't think he's fully mastered it, even though his his off-ball qualities do help the team right now. As Maresca says here, listen, in terms of the vision, you always thought that he'd play with. Maresca's like, yeah, absolutely, yes. We said many times for us that Malo is the main player in the way we want to play him. He can play in different positions. You already know that he likes players that can give us, we can be dynamic with them. Malo was one of them, and we are very happy with Malo. Personally, since I joined the club, I consider Malo for us a main player, which kind of makes sense. I think Gusto, he is that good that you can't just kind of ostracize him from the team. You kind of have to use him. That's the quality this guy has. So hopefully he can just, I don't know, I feel like there's more heights than Gusto can reach. And hopefully this is like a nice little precursor, a nice little positive sign that Gusto is getting better in this inverted role. But what do you guys think about that, man? You let us know in the comment section. I'm going to go through maybe one more key point from the press conference before we move on to breaking down the predicted lineup for tomorrow, right? But there was an interesting question posed around, noticeable progress in our counter pressing. Our recovery time has actually decreased. So when you lose the ball, you get it back within 7 seconds, which is the highest it's been under you right now. What do you think has been key to these pressing improvements? As Maresca says, probably the time that we spend together. We said many times that with more time together, we're going to be better and better. It's something that we have in the way we want to recover the ball as soon as possible. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not possible because the other teams do different things. But for sure, it's something we are getting better at, and we can be even better. And I definitely think we can be even better. But I've seen that with like small improvements. Like, for example, we're not seeing as many teams kind of carrying through us in central areas like what we were seeing at times last season. That's a nice little, sign of things to come. I think another big improvement has been in the defensive line. And I know it's mad because them times when Tosin was in our defense and simple counter-attacks over the top is spinning us, when you have more maybe suited players like we've seen Fofana and Trevor Chalobah have 2 clean sheets on the bounce. Even Action Punk's introduction to the team has helped us in these areas too. I guess maybe it allows us to be a bit more efficient in terms of our counter pressing, because now the fullback guys, the last resort guys in our defense, are now better suited to kind of deal with these 1v1 moments. So my friends, man, they're the key points from the press conference. But right now, let's move on to discussing the predicted lineup I think we're going to use in the game against Burnley tomorrow. Now, when it comes to things like, little first team injury news, of course, Neto and Enzo are probably going to be playing games because they didn't take part in international break. Makes a lot of sense. I feel like some of the international guys like Esteval, I feel like Maresca's thinking about Esteval for Barca, but would it surprise me if he maybe started the game and then was subbed off, who knows? But I don't know. I just feel like the Barca game is where Estevao can be absolutely key for us and be that weapon. And listen, I think with the lineup you guys are seeing on screen right now, this is what I believe we could see tomorrow. Now, I know that when it comes to Burnley, you know, there's been maybe interesting conversations around, you know, Chelsea are more likely to kind of not take a Burnley serious and be more focused for the bigger games. Fair enough. But I do think we have seen small improvements in terms of how we're finding possibilities against teams like Burnley. But listen, Burnley have been quite difficult at times when it comes to, you know, really just making it hard for bigger teams. Outside of the Man City game, who absolutely destroyed them. But even then, they destroyed them late in the second half. Burnley was able to equalize, get back in the game, whatever. But they have frustrated your Arsenals. They have frustrated some of the other teams as well. But they are losing games on the bounce right now. But I know what you guys are thinking, Nini, man. Teams like Burnley, they set out in the back five. It's long for us. Cool. But the reason why I think it'll be different for us tomorrow is because we have the lap back in the team. And I think when you go back to that West Ham game, which is one of the best performances so far this season, one of the best in 2025, what Delap was able to bring us by being an option for us to play quick to, over the top to, direct to, he was so good at just like disorganizing defenses and stretching them. I mean, you have players like Joao Pedro who wants to kind of arrive in those vacated spaces, yeah? But you have guys like Garnacho who can kind of come inside with the ball. Yeah, I feel like I can see Delap being a really complementary figure to the rest of the team, as long as he doesn't get sent off for stupid reasons, yeah? But I believe Delap will start, and I see an attack of Garnacho, Joao Pedro, and Pedro Neto all supporting him. I think Joao Pedro getting a few goals back now. I kind of knew that once he got his fitness back a bit, you'll see this guy cook a bit. But one of the things you kind of get from Joao Pedro playing that 10 role, as I think he's looked quite good at times, I have to say, you know. A lot of the good things he's done hasn't resulted in goals, right? But like, I remember like the Wolves performance in the first half. He made the two decisive actions to set up Andre Santos. And if Santos had some scoring form behind him, guaranteed, but we're talking about Joao Pedro in a different light. That's how forgetful we can be with the details. But he's a bit of a different 10 compared to Cole Palmer, because he's a touch and go type of player where he plays quickly, very quickly. And I just think that having that type of complementary figures in Delap and Joao Pedro against the rest Burnley defense, I think that can cause us a lot of like positive problems. And I think that I'm expecting either one of these guys to guarantee a goal in the game tomorrow. And I hope that will be Liam Delap, who can get his first goals for us in the league. Garnacho, he's showing some nice, steady form, isn't he? You know, hopefully he can kind of continue what he's doing, and I'm sure he wants a strong performance to kind of be in the running for the game against Barcelona. Let's watch that. And Pedro Neto, as I keep saying, man, Neto does some good things for sure, but I just don't see this guy play 2 good games on the bounce, 2 good games on the run. Like, I feel like with the qualities he has, yeah, I need a bit more consistency. We was demanding that from your nonnies and many other guys last season over the years. Fair enough. I think we have to also apply the high standards to Neto as well. But I feel like in terms of those moments where Burnley will kind of mess up, that will be dependent on how we counter press them. We spoke about that Maresca's presser, but I think that will be key, because against teams like Burnley, man, I feel like when you beat them, a lot of times it's like winning the psychological battle, because if you can force them into errors, if you can disrupt their passing out from the back, if you can force them into just panicking, launching the ball to anyone and everyone, yeah, this is where you can kind of create the avenues to break them down. And I think with the strong pressing of Delap, Joao Pedro Neto, and Garnacho's improved, you know, I'm seeing, even the way he's tracking back, I'm seeing improvements there. There's enough here to kind of disrupt what Burnley do out from the back and kind of create those mistakes to hurt them. I think that what will be key to that, though, is another thing that has to happen, and that is Enzo Fernandez continuing to play the deep line playmaking role against teams like Burnley, because I just think that when he's on the ball a bit more, receiving from the defense, able to just like demonstrate his passing range, balls over the top, switch balls, link up, speeding up the play, it just adds another dimension, which I think will complement this attack for tomorrow. And obviously Moises Caicedo, I mean, there's nothing much to say about him. the best midfield player in the league. Let's just hope no one gets injured. That's what I'm really hoping for. And you guys, to end things in defense, I feel like we have to see a bit of rotation. I'm expecting Jalabert and Fofana to be the two guys against Barca next week. Makes sense. So I'm going for Achimpong, and I'm also going for Malo Gusto, because I believe that maybe Reece James will be starting the game against Barca. But we're going to need Reece in terms of his composure and ability to play out from the back. It just adds so much for us. It's so undercooked. Like, he doesn't get enough credit for that, but it just takes us to a different level. So a moment for Achimpong, of course, to continue his Prem development. Good game against Burnley will definitely put him in the running for future games. I think Jalabert at the moment is probably the best option we have to play on the left side. He's come under fire a lot, and I just don't get why people don't sympathize that he's not playing in his best role. Most guys playing on the left will not be cooking the same way. Supporting him, Cucurella, of course. I was thinking, could Hato obviously start? But I believe that Hato will end the game. But I think Cucurella will start it, of course, because getting points in the Prem is important. And I think Gusto will play on the right-hand side. And as we saw in our last game, you know, I want to see Gusto playing a lot wider. Yeah, just as we saw against Wolves. You know, I want him to be more of an overlapping, stretching option. I think that could really add so much to our attack and how we break down Burnley. So my friends, that's the predicted lineup. Let me know your thoughts and opinions below. And to end things, you guys, man, for my prediction, you know, my focus is on Barca and Arsenal. I think contextually, because this is like very rare to get this consecutive amount of hard games in a row, like, this is where you can make a statement, and we have to be ready for that. Yeah, I think Burnley, we have enough quality here where, you know, I'm not worried about the back five. I think we have interesting options and solutions against them, 100%. I'm not going to lie, my focus is on those two games, as I'm sure it's been for all you guys before the season even started, right? So I'm going to be going for a 3-0 win. I think we're going to beat Burnley quite convincingly tomorrow. So that's my preview. Let me know your thoughts and opinions below, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow on match day. Love.